Hi guys. So I've been having some laptop difficulties and I'm actually going to have to do this from my phone. So it's just one of those things in life where we get to just roll with the punches and see what happens and keep pivoting. I'm about to be joined by the amazing Nicole Farrar. She is so knowledgeable about essential oils, how to help yourself with healing, how to bring essential oils and natural plant medicines into your life so that you can heal yourself and be in control of your own health, and how essential oils can help your happiness and bring peace and healing to the mind, the body, and the spirit. I'm just going to see if I can put something underneath the phone so I can raise it up a little bit. Whoop, nearly lost yours. So now we're a little bit crooked. That's the best I'm going to be able to get. So I'm taking over for a few weeks on the Wednesday mornings from the absolutely divine Leonie Featherstone. She's off training at the moment, and she is the doTERRA Essential Oil Queen. So she is the best person who, if you've been thinking of getting into essential oils, and either for your own health or as a side business, then I can't recommend Leonie enough. She's incredibly generous, and she's one of those teachers who wants the best for you. She's not pushy. She's just amazing. So when you're wanting to start a business and you're wanting to do these on the side, quite often if you have somebody above you in the multi-level marketing ladder who is a real go-getter and is amazing, then your chances of success are a lot better. So Leonie is so well known on this page here, and she's always around. But if you would like to contact her further, just put some comments down in the bottom at any stage, even if you're watching the replay, and she'll be able to contact you. So I've got some comments coming up now, guys. I'm on my phone, so it's not going to be as easy. I'm actually looking to see whether or not Nicole Farrar is there. Let me just see if I can find her. I'm just going to pop allow your guests, your viewers, to request to join. So she hasn't turned up just yet. So she's just going to have to find me. So I will keep talking until she arrives on and she's on the live. Now, essential oils are something which I think get dismissed by a lot of people for being, something that's a pretty smell, or can put in an oil burner, or makes the room smell pretty. And to me, one of the ways that I explain it, and you may have heard me last week, but I'll keep saying this for any of the new people. I was watching the amazing, and as I was reading the amazing Eckhart Tolle book, A New Earth, and he talked about how flowers were the very first thing that we enjoyed and brought into our lives as human beings when we didn't need anything for survival. So before we appreciated flowers and started selling them and growing them, and they became an industry and a potent force, they were the first thing that we appreciated that wasn't linked with our survival. And when I was reading that, and I was also training for the Australian bushfire essences, this is in 2012 and 2013. So when I was doing that training, I realized that you have in the mineral kingdom, so the first dimension, and in the second dimension is the plant kingdom, and in the third dimension is us, animal, we're in 3D reality. And I realized crystals are the highest form of evolution in the first dimension, and flowers are the highest form of evolution in the second dimension, the plant kingdom. So that is why, like, the crystals are like the ascended masters. You can't, once you're an amethyst or a diamond or a ruby, you can't evolve past that. That is the pinnacle of evolution. It takes however thousands of years or millions of years to evolve into that crystal, and that's why they're used in healing modalities. Then we have the next thing is the plant kingdom, and oh, here we go, she's just coming on. Approve. So that is why flowers and plants are so important and so vital, is because they are actually the ascended masters of the second dimension. Hello, how are you?
Hey, you can see me. Oh, there
I
I
can
am.
see you and I can hear you. I was just chatting with everyone until you could come on. So everybody, we had some really funny communication issues with, it was either my laptop or StreamYard itself, which is a program which you can use to stream onto Facebook, and we couldn't get the audio to work, so it's kind of amusing. And I was just introducing everyone to why essential oils are so potent as something that can heal them. And you were on last week with me, Nick, and I was talking about them being the ascended masters of the second dimension. And I love telling that story because I find it's a really logical way for people who can be a little bit dismissive or cynical or don't really understand them, and it's a nice way of being able to explain to them why they are so potent. And I've done that with a couple of family members. I've had to kind of tell them, this is why, and they go, oh, I can accept that. And
Yeah, they can accept the logical.
I have a list of things that I say, with the moon, and talking about the potency of a full moon. And one of my family members was like, oh, yeah, whatever. And I'm just like, the moon controls the tides, and we're made up of 80% water. You're going to tell me that it's not having any effect on us? You're the crazy one, not me. And they just went, and it was really funny because at the exact same time, a lady who was a nurse, she told us that Moolumbar used to be the end of the train station line, and every full moon they would have people get drunk on the trains and end up in Moolumbar and have to go to the hospital. And so she knew.
I had no idea where they were. Yeah,
the full moon effect, she used to call it. And then policemen also talk about it and stuff as well. So it's not just like a woo-woo subject. It's actually something that is, I believe, very, truthful to everybody.
absolutely.
But we can now settle. We're here. We're together.
We're on. We made it.
We did. And you gotta, you know, I thought the Mercury retrograde was over, but it just seems to be giving us that last little bit of a send off, I guess.
Yeah.
So how have you been for the week?
Yeah, really well. I've been moving around a little bit. I've come to visit my daughter and
Mm.
stay with her for a week. So I found a nice little park with some old trees to sit in.
Oh,
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to be able to have these moments with you. And for everyone watching, Nicole has been doing quite a bit of traveling, and she's about to find a new place to settle. But I see her as like this, not a traveling hippie, like a traveling healer, a traveling hippie healer, healing hippie. And and
I would have said the reluctant traveller to start with, because there was quite a bit of reluctance to the path, but here we are.
no. So we're going to tie in the essential oils with you know, how we can help different ailments that we have. And I thought the kind of easiest way we could do it is structure it with the mind, body, spirit. And I thought that we would start with some of the big ones for like we'll start with the mind. And when I think of the mind, I think of anxiety, I think of stress, I think of any terrible inner critic and those kinds of things. And I was wondering, for those who are watching or watching the replay, what do you suggest for essential oils that could really help with stress? Because that's like one of the big ones, especially with everything that's going on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Look, my very, very first experience with an essential oil was just I met a lady, and she could obviously see the anxiety and the stress. I was going through a particularly interesting time, and I had to move out of one property and was yet to find another. Very familiar story, actually. Anyway, I met her and she said, look, please take this with you. And it was a citrus blend. And I used it a couple of times over the day. I spent the day with her. It was at a Women's Day. I met her. And I was just blown away at the power of this citrus blend. You think oranges, lemons, you know, great vitamin C. You don't think anxiety, stress relief, calming. Yeah, and so moving on, like 5, 6 years later, bergamot is my new favourite for the
Wow.
citrus family. So that's what I've been working with this week. But I highly recommend, yeah, any of the citrus blends for anxiety, stress, worry, just calming all round.
And when you apply them, do you just put them on your wrist or do you put them in specific spots on your body?
Look, some of the essential oils can be a little bit sensitive on the skin. And it's a very individual thing. But with that day with that particular oil, I did the drop in each palm. I rubbed it together, and then I really inhaled it, and that's the way this lady explained to use it, and I just really love that method. It feels magical. It
Mm.
feels calming. You can run it through your hair, you can put it on your clothes. It doesn't have to be directly on the skin, and it doesn't
Mm.
have to be directly inhaled for it to yeah, do what it needs to do.
Yeah. Wow. And what about if someone's having like last week we talked about bringing ritual and ceremony into things and having a specific oil for a specific issue. So say somebody had a really, you know, that they were really negative towards themselves. They might have had like a really negative inner critic, and by that I mean like years ago I used to have a really destructive internal critic, which like say I wanted to get on and do a live, or if I wanted to start a business, or if I wanted to do any of these things, this little voice in my head would be going, why would you even bother? You've failed so many times in the past. It's not going to happen. You know, and if I had done something wrong or made a mistake, oh my God, it used to tell me I was a loser. And I just had a very toxic inner critic, which really wanted me to, I suppose, it in a weird way, it was trying to protect me in some ways from not doing anything which would put me out there to be ridiculed, to be judged, any of those different things. But I also was really, really, really wanting, you know, a different life. I was really wanting these things. I was wanting to step up and do these stuff. And I had to work, and I worked with affirmations at that stage. But I really wished that I knew about essential oils, because I've used them later on. And good morning, Cheryl. And I found it faster. You know, like if you just work with an affirmation, yes, you reprogram your brain, but there's something about saying that affirmation and thinking different thoughts and then smelling at the same time. It's like the added smell and the added ritual of putting it on your hands and smelling it. It makes that retraining of the neural pathways stronger. So for those who have an internal critic, is there any particular oils that you think is really good for, I guess, the brain and you know, I suppose, yeah, and anything that's coming to mind?
So part of the ritual, it really does tie in with that neural reprogramming. And so when we're in a state of anxiety or stress, one of the fastest ways for us to come back into our body and back into a sort of a balanced state is to use our senses. And I think that could be just my opinion, but it could be one of the reasons that people feel these oils are so effective, because we're using the touch method, we're using the smell method, and we're mindfully aware that we're doing those things. So that's three different parts of our system that we're using. And I think that could be the key to why they are so effective, because you're literally slowing all of those systems down one by one and bringing them back into a state. And then you add your breath in and you're breathing and you're coming back into that balanced state. You can use like clary sage. You can use sage. I think you use paleo Santo oil, don't you?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rosemary as well. I suppose essential oils can be a little bit almost different for every person. Like to me, lavender oil is very relaxing, but it also, I don't know if it's because it's purple and that's my favorite color, and I associate purple with the third eye and spirituality at times as well. And you know, your amethyst is it is purple, and I quite often will put it in my bath when I'm really wanting to connect with my spiritual self. But years ago, I just, oh, that'll help me sleep. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
so I suppose it's that when I think about it, when it comes to reprogramming your brain with those inner critical thoughts, it just has to be something that the individual connects with, feeling, I guess, something that's going to bring me clarity. And rosemary can do that. I'll take a whiff of rosemary and I'm like, oh, right, off I go, you know. It's like brings me this sharp clarity. And I used to uh, years ago when I was in uni and in school, I would just go and get some and smell some, because I read somewhere that it brings you clarity and
Remembrance.
remembering, yeah. And
Yeah.
when you need to study, you need to remembering that. So
Yeah.
perfect.
So yeah, just going back to the inner critic, my inner critic has been pretty vocal. And yes, we acknowledge that it is a beautiful part of our mind that is trying to keep us safe. But my personal favourite with that is rose oil. It
Oh,
really, really helps. I found personally, it really helped me soften in and just be kinder and more compassionate with myself.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a really
brilliant.
interesting one, Rose.
Yeah. See, because of my Aries bulldozer, I like something that shocks me back. But it
Yeah.
makes so much sense that you would want to have that loving, nurturing rose. So yes, I think it also ties in with your personality and how you want to receive it. Like if I've got a really inner critic and it's you know, making me feel bad, it makes sense that you want something that's loving to help soothe that. Whereas in the Aries bulldozer is let hit that one out of the ballpark, you know, like it just wants to smash it out of the way. And
Yeah.
yes, I've never even thought of that. See,
Mm.
conversations like this are fantastic because it makes me think of and puts myself in other people's shoes. I just had a comment from Cheryl. She's got, I love amethyst. It's her birthstone, but lavender doesn't appeal to me so much though. Yes, so I think that I just have a little bit of a thing with colours. I've even have a few colour therapy books, and I always intuitively, like I'll be wearing a color and it's just like what I feel like I need. And even with my shawls, I mean, I have like 50, and sometimes I'll wear the purple one for like months and then the next time it's red. um, I've got orange ones, I've got rainbow ones, I've got all different kind of colors. So when I think of lavender, I used to always just think of it as calming, but because of the type of color of the purple, I've started to see it as a very spiritual one, not just calming. So that's why I kind of think lavender third eye now. And I think it's predominantly um, not just the color, but also when I put it in the bath and I have the intention that I want to find out like what's going on for me, and I want to tap in with my higher self and tap into my intuition. If I get into that calm, peaceful state and I'm believing that it'll help me, it does help me kind of connect into my intuition quicker. So I think the important thing, Cheryl, is to find the things that kind of um, will link in with the things that you're trying to work with. So if you want clarity on a situation, so you step into your sovereign self, well then you find something that you know will with the smell evokes that in you. The other thing is um, grounding. What kind of essential oils do you find ground you, Nicole?
Things like clary sage, eucalyptus, I think we touched on last week. It's my all-time favourite. So helpful for an energetic cleanse, but I really find it quite grounding as well.
Yeah. I've got cedar wood, I think it is. And I put that in the bath when I've got muscular issues. Cedar wood. I'm not sure if it's got cedar in it, but it could be a blend. I'm not 100% sure. And I find that incredibly grounding. Cheryl wrote she likes peppermint. And when you're using the peppermint, Cheryl, is that connecting you to like your intuition, or like when do you find that you're using the peppermint, and what is it doing for you? I like peppermint as well. I find that very like zing, but I do have to be careful that I don't it can really have an effect for me, so I can only usually use it on diluted, and otherwise, you know, I rubbed it on my small of my back, pure form, thinking I was using you know, deep heat muscular natural forms, and I actually brought my menstrual cycle on a week early. So I actually went, oh, duh. They say don't use it for pregnant ladies, and now I know why. And I actually went and looked up the book, and it's like, do not use neat, don't use it anywhere near, you know, and I went, oh, learn that.
Peppermint's an interesting one, because it does have those kind of cautions with it, of using it neat, and using it sometimes even people can have, if they've got skin condition, it can be quite sensitive on their skin. And yet, to smell it topically, it's been used for hundreds of years as a pain relief.
Yeah.
And yet, when you smell it, it's quite invigorating. It's awakening. It you know, clears those nostrils.
Yeah.
It's a very different sensation.
I love it, but I'm also deeply respectful of it now.
Definitely.
And I think it'd make an amazing, if you were to able to get some of the leaves and put it in the oil and let it steep, and for a while, you know, like infuse an oil, and then like massage people's feet with it and stuff like that. I think that would be utterly divine. I love peppermint as well.
And Cheryl said the same thing. She said it wakes her up as well. It does feel like it wakes her up, and it really is quite invigorating. I've got just a little spray bottle, and I just put a couple of drops of the peppermint, and usually usually some lavender and something else, and I just keep that in the car. And if I start to get a little bit you know, too relaxed and tired, I'll just spray that as a spritzer. And that's a really effective way and a gentle way to use the peppermint too.
That's a genius idea, because I have like a time limit of I don't really like to drive over 5 hours, because after the 5-hour mark I just become desensitized to, you know, other cars, myself, everything else. I'm not a good driver for that. Like, I've just got a time limit, and there's been times I've had to uh, I actually got booked because I passed this car that was doing some weird things, and I went over a hill, and I was about 15 or 10 k's over, and there was a policeman coming straight up, and I pulled over for him, and he comes down, and he looked at me and he goes, you look disillusioned or something like that. And I thought to myself, what a bizarre thing to say. But I actually realized that I'd had to do an extreme amount of traveling because I was shifting interstate, and this is like my third or fourth trip. And I actually had a weird feeling that he'd probably saved my life, and I was happy to pay the fine because I was so tired and so everything. And a spritzer would have been such a fantastic idea just to make you go
It's
mentally alert, you know?
definitely my go-to.
Mm,
This one actually has spearmint in it,
yeah.
which is slightly different to the peppermint, but super yummy. It's the first time I've ever used spearmint, but it's
Oh,
really nice.
I'm totally doing that. You know, that's something that I just spray it and brings you back to alertness. And I mean, I'm a daydreamer, so sometimes I'll be driving along and I'll be just like, I'll daydream something or other, and then I'm like, oh,
I
Siri's
missed
told me
my
I've
turn.
Siri's told me I've arrived. What happened for the last hour? You know, and I'm terrible. I was like, well, I hope I drove okay. And but you know, it's I just go into you know daydreaming about such and such, and probably not the best to admit that. Oh, Cheryl's gone. She does that too. Thank goodness I'm not the
Yeah,
only
I
one.
have visions of Jess pulling up with like half a picket fence in the front bumper or something because she's.
Yeah. I
Uh,
I think that half the time my car just knows the way now, so you know, and but it can be a little bit scary and off-putting when I do go, oh, well, where did the last hour completely go? So I am definitely going to create my own little spritzer and
yeah,
and take that because that's a brilliant idea.
so
You're
handy.
full of brilliant ideas, Nicole. And so the next question I wanted to ask is, um, so physical pain. Um, Cheryl wrote, I've driven for hours, then don't remember going through different towns on the way. Yes, Cheryl, you're my type of person. I do the exact same thing, and and uh, I say this I say this thing when I'm driving out in the bush, Cheryl, and I'm only in a little Holden Barina, and I lived out in the New England area during all the really bad droughts and bushfires a few years ago. And there were so many car accidents with kangaroos. There was just, I don't know how many kangaroos. And you would drive along and you would see that many dead kangaroos being hit by cars, and it was awful. And so I came up with an affirmation, and I'll tell it to you because you're a daydreamer like me. And I ask my guides and you know, whoever, I'll pray, and I ask for my energy field to be extended out and ahead like a funnel. And I say something like, um, please help me extend my energy field out to the sides and ahead like a funnel, so that all animals, birds, and instincts sense me coming and feel my energy and don't get in front of the car, as I don't want to hurt them. And I'll say something or other like that. And you know what? Because I can't help but daydream, and you can't daydream and be alert for kangaroos at the same time. So I managed to make it through that drought when I had about 3 different work colleagues all in 1 month, you know, with their cars and different things going on, and different people I knew who had all had, you know, hit these kangaroos because there was just so many of them. And so I can still daydream and I can do that at the same time. And I just feel like it's this little added bit of protection because I don't know what I would do if I hit an animal. You know, I just, you know, I'd cry, and then I don't know, have to do a funeral ceremony or something. I don't know, and and some interesting things happen, but that's something that I do with animals. And as a one daydreamer to another, that's something that I found really beneficial. Oh, she's right, that's beautiful, I will do that. Perfect. So we'll shift from the mind to the body, and some of the common things for the body is ailments. She's just written, oh, hang on, my comments disappeared. I had fires all around trapping me in, and I wouldn't leave because of my animals. Yes, I literally spent months on antihistamines and having terrible amounts of issues because of the smoke, and I couldn't believe what we lived through, and just to systematically see it all burn, you know, my heart goes out to you. And some of it was, I lived not far from, I can't think of the place. It's not far out from Glen Innes, and that firestorm went through and killed quite a few people at that time. And they're all small towns, and everyone knows each other, and they've known that person for extra many generations. So it was a horrific thing to live through. So, you know, my heart goes out to you. And is your land and everything doing okay now, Cheryl? So while Cheryl's replying to that, we'll start with the body. So if somebody has like aches and pains, maybe arthritis, is there something you suggest for that?
There's a couple of different oils. As I touched on peppermint. Peppermint's amazing topically for pain relief, but obviously we wouldn't use that neat. Now we just put a couple of drops in some coconut oil or some olive oil, or you know, whatever you have on hand. It doesn't have to be sort of too specific, but that's one I've used and proven as a topical pain reliever. Definitely peppermint. Geranium is the other one that has been used, you know, for the past few hundred years as a home remedy for pain. Geranium flower essence.
Wow. So Cheryl has just replied that yes, her places were saved. And she has autoimmune issues, RA, Ross River, and Barmer Forest virus. I've never even heard of that.
Oh.
So with her stuff there, autoimmune issues, Ross River fever, is there something that she could be using which might help some of those symptoms, if you've helped anyone with those in the past? And Cheryl, could you tell us a little bit about what Barmer Forest virus is?
So Barmer Forest is a place near where I grew up.
Oh,
So I don't know, but I've never heard of Barmer Forest virus. So maybe I'll have to ring up a few friends and see if that's a thing.
well, hopefully Cheryl will be able to. Oh, so it's similar to Ross River. So, actually, my brother had a type of fever which he got from a mosquito bite up near Yeppoon, and it actually had a specific different name. So you might know the answer to this, Cheryl, but was it a mosquito bite that gave it to you from Aussies? And so they must mutate in their specific areas. So that's actually, I learn something every day. And I kind of lump everything under Ross River, and so that's fascinating. So it must be a virus, a mozzie virus, that's kind of has unique symptoms maybe to the Barmer Forest. Yeah. So is there any essential oils that might relieve, that you know of, that might help relieve any symptoms?
And look, there's a lot when we get into dealing with the immune system and the nervous system and things like that. We have to be looking at things from a wider perspective. So my first piece of advice is usually to consult a naturopath or someone that can look at all of your circumstances before you go ahead. But if you just wanted to try something at home, I definitely would try the topical geranium and peppermint. You can, I think Leonie would be able to speak more to this. I think it's called Copaaba. It's a doTERRA, or they have a blend of that oil, and I've heard amazing things about.
What's it called?
You're going to make me try and say it again,
Yeah.
aren't you? It starts with C. It's COB, Copaaba.
Copaaba.
I think so, yeah.
Like Leonie would
Thank
know.
you for letting me massacre that on Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd definitely be able to ask Leonie about that.
I couldn't actually understand the first time you said it, and I thought to myself, I don't think anyone else will be able to. I'm going to have to ask the second time.
I'm pretty sure that's not how you say it, just for the record. But the care factor is pretty low at this point. It is an amazing oil, and I've heard even you know, for that joint pain and things like that, arthritis pain, and also nervous system issues. So yeah, Leonie's definitely the lady to sort of inquire about that.
Yeah.
Um,
So
inflammation, I guess, inflammation anywhere in the body, you know, it will tend to gather at our joints, you know, hips, knees, hands, necks, things like that. And not really related to essential oils, but in the same ballpark. You can really have a lot of benefits come through just by choosing anti-inflammatory foods and adding those into your diet as well, if you, yeah, trying to sort of do a few things.
actually, Cheryl, I know a lady who, I don't know her proper title. It's kind of like a food scientist kind of thing. So she's done all the uni. She only needs to do an extra X amount of years and she'd be a GP. But she's not in dietetics. So she's gone into the actual science of the nutrients of the all the foods and stuff. And she has she helps people with autoimmune, and she had it herself. And she gets some really good results. So if any time you're ever interested, her name's Beck Erickson, and it's Holistic Health, HOLISTK Health, and she does online consults. So the amazing Nicole, she also does some creams and balms and stuff that she's made up. Would the balms that you've got, would they help with autoimmune, or are they more arthritis?
Generally inflammation based and arthritis based. The immune system, I found it personally fascinating, the immune system and the nervous system. Our human body is really amazing on so many levels. Not only does it give us a place to live and some way to get around, but it has amazing abilities to heal on its own when it has the right support in place. So I would definitely add in some anti-inflammatory foods. And yes, topical, some of the topical things that I make would be helpful.
Yeah.
But it's not a short-term thing. I mean, topical products will help immediately, usually. But to get to more of the underlying inflammation takes obviously more time.
Yeah, the topical stuff relieves the pain and the problems, but they don't heal the underlying issue. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. So if someone was to have, say, asthma, or you know, wanted to breathe better, or they've got a common cold, hello, like me, what are some of the things that you might suggest for that?
Essential oils wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so again, eucalyptus. Um, there is one called wintergreen, and it smells kind of like a natural version of Vicks vapor rub. It's amazing, this
I've never heard
wintergreen.
of it.
Yeah. Um, so that
Wintergreen.
one's really good. Wintergreen, yeah, it's usually really good to diffuse, or I mean, I guess you could use it anyway if you're not feeling well.
Hmm.
But usually in a diffuser to sort of help open up the airway.
Almost sounds like it smells like Christmas. Wintergreen. I
It's
like that.
got what's that smell? It's almost like a camphor smell.
Ooh, I love
Mm,
camphor.
yeah, it's really unusual.
I'm definitely getting one of those then. And what else is, we've got aches and pains. We've done like the body. Um, if somebody's like does have a cold and they're wanting to maybe decongest the chest, or they've got a snot. I know there's eucalyptus, but is there anything else that you would suggest?
I tend to use all three together. I'll use the lavender, the eucalyptus, and either a bit of tea tree or a bit of lemon or a bit of citrus, depending on what you've got. But I like to use more than one oil, and that's just because I'm an oily head, I guess, and just love it. But I find that way, you're covering all angles. You've got some lavender, it's calming and relaxing. You've got some eucalyptus, it's clearing and it's opening those airways. And you've either got a bit of lemon or a dash of tea tree, which is quite antibacterial, antifungal, all the
Wow.
antis really.
So if someone was to want to use multiple ones, like you're saying, do you suggest them putting it into an oil and creating their own little blend, or can they just put like a drop and then rub it all together?
Look, it's dependent on how committed they are. If they're really serious and they want to start making their own blends, I 100% commend them, because it's just the best fun, and it's a really interesting way to work with your intuition and with plants at the same time,
Yeah.
because you'll always find that intuitively you'll be led back to something. And sometimes our mind might want to go look it up and have the logical meaning that it's for this, this, and this. But it's usually exactly correct for what you need.
I found that. I am constantly amazed by that. I'll uh I'll be going past something in Coles, and I'm just like, I'll get some of that. And then it ends up being exactly what I need, either straight away or sometimes a month later. You know, like
Yeah.
I bought neem tea, and I'm just like, I don't know why I'm buying this, but I know that feeling, trust my intuition. And then about 6 weeks ago, I had a bit of I actually had the flu, not just a little cold, I had the flu. And I'm I'm a big believer in like not going and getting antibiotics and stuff unless you really, really need them. Um, I've experienced my mum having to go in and have to go on a drip to have like the really strong antibiotics. And the doctors in the hospital basically said, you know, we shouldn't be having as much antibiotics as we do, because when things like this happen, the stuff in our bodies has become resistant to all of their antibiotics. So after seeing what my mum went through with just one finger, and everything else like that. I'm just like, no, I'm saving
Good.
antibiotics. I'm saving antibiotics for when I'm dying and when I'm like, like a really critical thing. And
Yeah, when I really need them.
yeah, so um I was got this neem tea, and it was just sitting there, and I'd been sick for about a week and a half, and I'm like, neem tea, and I open it up, and here's this little thing inside of it, um and um inside of it, it says neem tea helps with both viral and bacterial infections. And I was like, are you serious right now? And it's the most disgusting thing that you'll ever taste. But
It tastes
like,
terrible.
it's so bad. It makes olive leaf extract taste yummy. And
Oh, wow.
so like, and I made it I made it too strong to start off with. So I drank half of it, and it's actually, I almost wanted to throw it back up because it's got this weird pungent strength to it, which is, it doesn't smell bad. It's like this innocent looking little, almost clear, you just don't know until this vile thing goes down your throat. And and then I'm like, oh my God. So now that I know it's that bad, I do the skull effect, and I will just let it get lukewarm and then skull it, and then just sit there go,
Just wear it.
and I just like, this is just medicine, and I'm gonna take it. Um, I'm just reading the comment. Zita's got, I love thieves when I'm a bit sniffly. Oh, that's another good one, Zita.
Yeah. My
Um,
daughter just advised that this morning. So I was
yeah.
asking her about a few little allergy things, and she said thieves is amazing.
And she does a combo for when she's got a cold of frankincense, rosemary, lemon, clove, and eucalyptus. Actually, you've just
Ooh.
reminded me, clove is another one that I use for grounding. You know, if I really want to just,
Ah,
because it's to me, it's got this real strong, pungent smell. I love the smell, but at the same time, I just find it grounding. And uh, and and she also loves frankincense, orange together. Oh, that smells amazing. Cheryl's wrote, I use colloidal silver instead of antibiotics. I love colloidal silver as well, but it didn't particularly work in this instance. Sometimes it's something or other going on. But do you know, I took colloidal silver with me when I went to Mexico, and I had it in a little, I had it in a large bottle, but it had a spray top. So after each meal, and not actually not every meal, but most of them, the ones that were at the hotel I had, and then I would make sure I did it morning, night, and I'd spray it on my toothbrush as well. Even though I was using bottled water, I'd spray it on the toothbrush just to be honest. And I did not have one problem. I had a little bit of an upset belly when I was at a Tulum over the Caribbean side, the East Coast, and I was like, oh, don't get sick, don't do it. And the colloidal silver, so like, and the lady that I was with was an older lady and part of the tour, and she had like the full-on accident while wearing white pants. God bless her. She was in her 70s, and to me, if I could get everybody to have colloidal silver for that kind of thing, and for just using it for most of their staff, I think it'd solve so many issues. And it's one of my go-tos. Colloidal silver, olive leaf extract when at the start of a cold. I find that once you have the cold and it's just set in, that the olive leaf extract doesn't kind of help me get rid of it, but if it can stop in that initial phase, it just, oh, amazing. So there's a couple of things in my first aid kit, which is just go to. Aconite, homeopathics, ACONITE, 30 cc's. If you can get it in that first initial stages, then that one will knock it out of the ballpark too. So I just think that there's some amazing stuff out there, and if everyone used that instead of going to the doctors for antibiotics, which half the time it doesn't even work because it's, you know, not even the right infection, and it's kind of like the placebo effect. Yeah, have some of these. But no, I haven't. I've had one lot of antibiotics in no, two lots, one in 2012 and one in 2017. So it's been a few years, but I think people are afraid to kind of test and trial this stuff, you know. I had an infection on my toe, so I got a texture and I drew a line, and I'm like, if the red passes this line, I'll have the antibiotics. If I can treat it naturally and it doesn't pass that line and goes away, then I'm going to do it. And I just gave myself a time limit. I gave myself 48 hours and if I don't see any improvements. And people are just scared of trusting their own power and trusting to try all natural stuff, which I don't quite understand. I think more people need to do it. Zita's got, I also use traditional Chinese medicine. She makes me up a herb for my son if he gets a cough, and another for, hang on, it just moved. And another for ears if he gets an infection from swimming or something like that. In 20 to 30 minutes after taking the herbs, it's sorted. I've given him antibiotics since. It keeps jumping. I let him pick out the oils as well, what feels right for him, and put them in a diffuser. So I'm teaching him to tune into himself and to get the answers within, so what will heal him. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely
that's
amazing.
really powerful.
Cheryl's wrote, my dad had golden staph and we gave the hospital colloidal silver water to use on his wound and to drink, and he healed. The doctor couldn't believe it. Oh, amen. Amen. I would like to make the colloidal silver, learn how to do it. There is this little thing with these rods and different stuff like that, but that's something that I would really like to learn to do. Because I just think it's so powerful, and what a blessing to have things like that, and we can, you know, trust our intuition and trial and error instead of, you know, giving your power away, you know. Oh, you make your own. Amazing. And how did you get the kit? Did you buy it online? Did you make it yourself? I am so curious now, Cheryl. I just think that's amazing, because it's people, you know, like Nicole's group is called Everyday Practical Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's what, to me, what everyday practical magic is trialing these things, being brave enough to do it. You know, it's brilliant. Zita's wrote, yes, trust our bodies and its power. Our bodies are amazing and they're all knowing. We definitely can get answers from ourselves. It's beautiful and powerful. I feel the same, Jess. We can teach or reteach ourselves to govern ourselves. Amen. You know, and I've learned to listen to my body as I'm going past. Something will just stand out and my body kind of goes, yes, take you buy that. And sometimes it's weird stuff like silica or you know, different things, and I just have the most eclectic bunch of herbs and minerals, and whatever I take, you know, is what I do. Zita's gone. I really love this live, ladies. It's so awesome. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I love
Yeah.
talking with Nicole. She's um uh just got that earth priestess energy. She works with the plants, and she just, you know, got a lot of knowledge in that beautiful brain. Cheryl's wrote, her uncle made it 30 years ago. Oh my god,
Oh, wow.
best heirloom ever. You can get them on eBay now. I bought my daughter one for her family. Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that. And that's something I really want to do. And I I believe in the power of intention, just like you do when you're making your balms and stuff. And um, and then there's all that Dr. Emoto's work with water. So I think that, you know, as you're making the colloidal silver yourself, your faith and your intentions and your energy and your frequency that this is going to work, and that this is amazing, is going to make it the most potent bottle of colloidal silver on earth. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the magic comes into it. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited. Yeah. And I think it's just really powerful to take ownership of our health and to try little different things. So we'll shift quickly into spirit. So I see spirit as connecting with our intuition. We've talked a little bit about that already. And meditation, you know, meditation, things which might be to help us kind of ease into that healing state. So if you've got someone up and you're doing a healing session on them, is there any oils that you use to kind of get them relaxed and connected with their higher self?
There is a meditation blend that I have used. I don't make it, I just purchased it. But it's one that my spiritual teacher used to use when she did treatments on me. So it's just like the incense brand I choose. It invokes that. It takes you back to that feeling of being relaxed and being on her table and having had the treatment. So I've actually carried that through with my treatment, and yeah, using this meditation blend. And just I usually just put a dot on each of my hands before I put my hands on the client. Sometimes I will put it over there at the top of their aura. My other favorite, I just, he feels high vibrational, is frankincense. It feels really high vibe to me. And I endearingly call him Frank. And I don't know that the master plan is actually a male or a female, but to me, that's how it feels. So yeah, it's like this funny little banter I have with Frank. But it feels high vibrational, and it feels very almost regal to me at times, being one of the things that, you know, they bought baby Jesus and all of that stuff. It's just a really, really, really old resin.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
And what about you? What are your favorite sort of high vibe for them?
I get a blend. This is the one I've been using recently. There's a shop in Wollongbar called Victorian Goddess, and she has the Moldavite oil. So if I know, because I work with the archetypes, and when I get triggered, or I'm under psychic attack, or something weird's going on, or a family member might be in a bit of crisis and they've got their own things going on, and I have to be in their energy field, but I don't want to be involved in their story. So sometimes, like when it comes to the energetics, I just love that one there. And so I will put some on third eye if I have to speak. You know, I'll put it on there. Please let me choose my words carefully. I'm an Aries. Be careful of the subtleties.
Be gentle.
Be gentle and aware that, you know, because half the time people are trying to be subtle and it just, I don't even know they're trying to be subtle, so it doesn't work. And and I and you know, about 10 or 20 minutes into the conversation, I'll be like, oh, they're trying to do such and such, why didn't they just ask me? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't get the small talk sometimes.
The undercurrent, yeah.
Yeah. And so it helps me to stay really protected, connect in with my sovereign, connect in with, you know, if I'm being triggered and I know something's not right, I'm like, okay, show me, guys, what is going on. And it just helps me to get back into, instead of being involved in the issue and the drama and all that, helps me step out of it and go, well, why is this happening? You know, what's going on? What's the lesson? If it's something with my archetypes, I'm like, well, what archetype just got activated? What archetype do I need to deactivate? You know, and so it brings me that connection with my higher self and spirit, which is what I need. I don't have like just a single one. The lavender can do it, but quite often I feel like I need more. And sometimes in my bath I can put, like, I'll have 3 drops of the multivite oil, I'll have 3 drops of lavender, and I might put 3 of rosemary, or, you know, and I'll just intuitively pick whichever ones. But I don't think I have like a blend, a specific one that connects me to my higher self. This blend is what I'm happiest with. Yeah. I'll just check.
I think sometimes it can tie, you know, just while you're checking those comments, it can tie back into that intention. You can use any oil, any item, any thing, and it's the actual intention and the ritualistic way that you use it that gives it its power.
Yeah. And yeah, that's even a nicer way that you can train your brain to even work with it in meditation. So say you wanted to do some past life work, you can pick a specific oil which will help you connect with your past life. If you're wanting to connect with your higher self in meditation, you can do that. Maybe you're wanting to tune in and do specific healing, you could have rose geranium, you know, for the specific healing kind of thing. So yeah, that makes perfect sense when we, and that'd be really powerful. So I've just realised the time, we're going to have to start rounding things up. But for those who watch the replay and those who are on now, could you just briefly tell them about the products that you create and how to find you online?
Yep. So I make topical products for pain generally, a pain roller, a balm, and a tincture primarily. I generally work one-on-one with clients to come up with individual paths to wellness, I call it. It's just a complete plan of what they need, specifically for what's going on with them. And of course, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I've got a page for the balm under 3 Creeks Wellness. And yeah, my treatments and my healing work is generally done through the page Alchemy of the Soul. Otherwise, you can just message me.
Yeah. So Facebook, when you're doing it from your phone, doesn't allow me to easily put the groups and stuff. So after this live goes and it loads up, I'll come back and I will edit it just so that both mine and Nicole's groups are in the description, and I'll also put them in the comment section as well for those watching the replay. That way you can connect with us at any stage. My mum has Nicole's Nan's Balm, and Nan's Magic Balm, and I have the pain roller, which is amazing. I put it on the back of my neck and stuff from a lot of computer work and things like that. So highly recommend them. For myself, I have got later this week I'll be announcing a webinar for the archetypes, and it's going to be based, a lot of people they think of their sabotaging patterns and they think of you know, I'm doing this and this, but there's actually other archetypes which cause just as much havoc, and understanding your child archetype and how it interlinks with the victim archetype can actually be more potent than understanding your sabotaging patterns. And sometimes you can misdiagnose what is actually your sabotaging patterns, and they're actually the child and the victim, not really the saboteur. So I want to do a little webinar explaining that to people, and so details about that will be released later this week. So my group is Alchemy, Archetypes and Alchemy, and I'll put a link in that, and your group is Everyday Practical Magic. Everyday Magic
for short, yeah.
And then it's got your name beside it. So Everyday Magic, Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole Farrar.
Perfect. Alrighty, I better round this up in case there's anyone else about to hop on after. It has been such a pleasure talking with Sita and Cheryl and those that came on. And
yeah, thanks ladies for joining us and sharing all your tips and tricks and your love of these beautiful, amazing oils.
I just love chatting about this stuff, and so thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you again, Jess. You have a wonderful day.
Will do. Much love to everybody.
Much love to Facebook land.
Yes, we were able to do it finally.
Yes, we did it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We had a couple of comments come through. Oh, that's lovely, Zita. Thank you so much. Can you read her comment?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. That's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you, beautiful. Wonderful. You have an amazing day. Bye.